Hello, my name is Muhammad Zafran Arif. My ID is 12212068555, and this is my visual programming final project documentation video. So, firstly, the aesthetic I chosen is Y3K, and my Pinterest mood board over here if you wish to open and see them. And my first artwork title is called Luminous Fracture. It explores the evolution of humanity beyond physical existence. The fragmented luminous forms represent a human consciousness that has transcended the biological body, existing instead of streams of data, energy, and artificial intelligence or AI. The dark void, so you can see dark voids in the artwork, symbolizes the unknown digital frontier, while the scattered reflective fragments suggest the continuous reconstruction of identity in a hyper-connected future. Rather than depicting destruction, the artwork visualizes transformation, where human existence is no longer defined by flesh, but by information, memory, and light. This artwork reflects my interpretation of what humanity could become in the Y3K era, where technology and consciousness are inseparable. I wanted to imagine a future in which identity is fluid, constantly fragmented and reassembled through digital systems rather than remaining fixed within a physical body. The monochromatic palette emphasizes the contrast between light and emptiness, suggesting both the limitless possibilities and the uncertainty of technological evolution. Through abstract forms and fragmented motion, the artwork invites viewers to question whether humanity's next stage of evolution will preserve our identity or redefine it entirely, blurring the boundaries between the human, the machine, and the infinite digital space. My next artwork is called Genesis Point. Genesis Point envisions the birth of a new digital civilization. The radiant lines converging and expanding from a central void, this one, these lines, and is kind of like metallic even. Central void symbolizes the emergence of an advanced intelligence capable of generating infinite networks, knowledge, and life beyond biological limitations. The dark center here, which you can see here, is very dark, dark void. It represents the unknown origin of this transformation, while the glowing pathways illustrate the continuous flow of energy and information across a hyperconnected universe. The artwork captures the moment where technology evolves from a tool into the foundation of a new existence, marking the beginning of humanity's next evolutionary chapter. With this artwork, Genesis Point, I wanted to explore the idea of creation in the Y3K era, not through nature, but through technology. I imagine a future where intelligence no longer originates from the human mind alone, but emerges from interconnected systems capable of evolving independently. The radiating lines symbolizes the spread of digital consciousness, extending endlessly like neural pathways across space and time. By using a monochromatic palette and abstract composition, I sought to emphasize the contrast between emptiness and illumination, representing both the mystery of the unknown and the limitless potential of technological progress. This artwork invites viewers to imagine a future where the beginning of life is no longer biological, but born from data, energy, and the infinite possibilities of artificial intelligence. And my last artwork is called Obsidian Vortex. This piece of artwork explores the architectural anatomy of a post-human era, set against a faint mathematical coordinate grid representing a baseline reality. A hyperdense metallic vortex finally folds inward. The glossy liquid chrome shards represent data, consciousness, and synthetic biology being compressed into a singular point. It imagines the transition of the physical universe into a decentralized, purely digital existence, a visual representation of a macro server consuming reality at the turn of the fourth millennium. This artwork acts as a portal into this ultra-futuristic landscape, capturing the violent elegance of the Great Compression. The underlying grid is a relic of our past, a rigid human attempt to map and control space. Tearing through it is a liquid chrome maelstrom, symbolizing the fluid, chaotic, and infinite nature of Y3K technology. By rendering this structure in deep obsidian and reflective metallics, I wanted to evoke a sense of technological sublime, an entity that is simultaneously beautiful, alien, and entirely indifferent to human scale. It is a snapshot of tomorrow's architecture, where data is fluid, space is synthetic, and the void is loud. These are my references and case study. If you wish to see them, click on the link. This is luminous fracture design process. Pattern 1, Pattern 2, and Pattern 3. These generate raw mathematical wave patterns for chop to SOP 1 to 3. These take the data channels from the pattern nodes and turn them into a 3D line, pattern points, which you can see in the photo here. Revolve 1, 2, 3. These spin those 3D lines around an axis like a pottery wheel, transforming a simple line into a hollow 3D surface or mesh. Blend 1. This takes the different 3D shapes from the revolve nodes and morphs them together. LFO1 and LFO2. These are constantly changing values that act as an automated driver. Math 1 and Math 2. These rescale the LFO values into appropriate numbers. Example like maybe changing to 0 to 1 into 0 to 180 to animate parameters dynamically. Twist 1. This physically twists, bends, or tapers the blended 3D shape. Copy 1 and copy 2. Instead of having just one twisted shape, these nodes duplicate the object multiple times, layering them or scattering them along a path. This is what creates that incredibly dense, ribbed organic structure seen in the background preview. Geo1 contains and positions our final 3D shape in virtual space. Camera 1 is simply just a camera, a virtual lens looking at the object. Light 1 and Light 2, these place light sources in the scene to cast shadows and highlights on the geometry. PBR1, this gives the object its physical look. It mimics real-world physics to give the object a metallic, highly reflective, glossy or chrome-like texture. Render 1, the engine that takes the 3D data. Geo1, Cam1 likes and outputs it as a flat 2D image. Ramp 1 is just a black to white gradient, while Luma Blur uses the Ramp 1 gradient to blur specific parts of the image, simulating a camera's depth of field, keeping the center sharp while smoothly blurring the foreground, the background. Level 1 adjusts contrast, brightness, and gamma to make the blacks deeper and the shiny reflections pop out more aggressively. Bloom 1, it adds a glow effect to the highlights, making the metallic reflections look more intense and luminous. Select 1 and out 1 finalizes the clean image stream. Secondly, this is Genesis Point design process. Firstly, pattern 1 and chop to saw. Just like before, this creates a mathematical wave and translates those numbers into a 3D line made of points. Circle 1 is just a simple 2D circle mesh. Copy 1. This takes the circle 1 shape and copies it onto every point of the line path generated by chop to 1. This effectively creates a series of parallel rings along a path, the skeleton of a tube. Normal 1 calculates the surface directions so that lights will bounce off the tube correctly later. Pattern 2 and Math 1, this generates a control curve, usually a ramping down wave, to dictate how the shape should change over its length. The deformer node, example like carved sweet skin pipeline. The network uses the incoming tube skeleton and applies the pattern 2 data to taper the end. By shrinking the circles down to a scale of 0 at the tip, it transforms a uniform tube into a sharp organic spike. Skin 1. This stretches skin all over those parallel circles, turning individual rings into a solid, continuous 3D surface mesh. Sphere 1, just a simple 3D ball mesh. Copy 2. This takes the sphere 1 ball and copies it onto the vertices of our newly skinned spike. Instead of a smooth surface, you now get a structure made up of hundreds of tiny spheres clustered together, giving it a complex, organic, granular texture, like a glowing deep-sea creature. Geo1 holds the final sphere-covered spike geometry. Cam1 frame to capture the artwork. Likely looking straight down the length or at a dramatic angle to make the points look like they are exploding toward the viewer. Light 1 and Light 2 positioned to hit the individual spheres, creating tiny, high-contrast glints of light on each individual ball. PBR1 and Environment 1 applies a highly reflective material, making each tiny sphere look like polished chrome or glass reflecting a dark environment. Render 1, it just captures the scene as a 2D image stream. Ramp 1 and LumaBlur 1 implements depth of field. The spheres closest to the camera are softly blurred using the gradient, giving the final image a macro photography feel. Level 1, it cranks up the contrast to ensure the background is pitch black and the reflections are piercingly bright. Bloom 1, it makes those tiny reflective glints on the spheres bleed out into soft, beautiful halos of light, creating that ethereal, glowing cosmic artwork effect. And lastly, this is Obsidian Vortex design process. Pattern 1 and chop to 1, chop to 2, it generates a smooth mathematical trajectory path in 3D space. Circle 1, it creates the cross-section profile. And copy 1, it sweeps the circle across the path points to create a ribbed skeleton. Skin 1, it generates a smooth, continuous surface skin over those cross-sections, producing a clean organic cord or strand. Normal 1, it's a structural parameter node ensuring vertex math is properly aligned so light bounces smoothly off the curved surfaces. And twist 1 and twist 2, these takes the straight or slightly curved incoming strand and forcefully bend, warp, or spiral it along its axis. Parameters. Copy 2 and copy 3. These are configured in a cascading chain, one copying the result of a previous one. Instead of just placing objects linearly, these apply cumulative rotations and scales. Geo1, it holds the massive spiral vortex geometry. Cam1 is positioned directly down the center axis of the vortex, creating a deep, immersive sense of perspective, making the viewer feel like they are looking down an infinite cosmic drain. Light 1 and Light 2 provide dramatic side and rim lighting because the geometry contains thousands of tiny overlapping twisted curves, so these lights catch only the outer edges of the strands. PBR1 and Environment 1 map a high gloss metallic chrome material onto the spiral, turning every single edge into a highly reflective mirror. Render Render 1 it just captures this as a 3D scene as a 2D image matrix. Ramp 1 and Luma Blur 1 it as a targeted blur filter. The center of the vortex remains razor sharp while the outer spiraling arms softly blur out of focus, enhancing the illusion of immense depth. Level 1 heavily drops the black levels. This removes any muddy grays, leaving a pure, clean pitch black background so that only the reflecting metal parts are visible. Bloom 1, the final touch. It takes the intense specular highlights glinting on the metal spirals and causes them to bleed and glow, turning a cold 3D render into an ethereal, glowing abstract masterpiece. I have my final assignment video here as well. If you wish to see them, you can click on the video. Thank you. That is all from me. Now I will show you the working file. So this is my first artwork, Luminous Fracture. I will play for you. And this is my second artwork, Genesis Point. And this is my final artwork. Oh, I forgot to add, it may look slightly different from the slides because I adjusted the color and added a bitmap file into each of these artworks. Yes, this this is the bitmap image I went for because it correlates to Y3K. I added to all of my artworks. This is the same. Yes, always the same. All right. So I think that's all from me. Thank you.